Powered by Virginia Radio.
Good evening, good evening, good evening. Yo. How y'all doing this evening? I hope Wednesday has met you well. It is another blessed Wednesday that we are here. Despite of everything going on in the world, we are still here. Yet uniting on another Wednesday. I hope the week has met you well. I hope that life is treating you fair. And I hope that you are finding the courage and the strength to endure while we floating on these broken pieces. I hope you still celebrating this month. It's a lot of things to celebrate.
Yes, it is.
We celebrate, and they have the people celebrating Pride. You have people celebrating Father's Day. You have people celebrating Juneteenth. You have people celebrating life, and in different ways of that, which we'll dive into a little later. So, with all of that being said, in the celebrating life lived this evening, the one, the only Captain Martin. Captain
Hey,
Martin.
people, hey, it's me.
Boss Babe. Excuse me, decorative extravagant. Listen, she is on the ones and twos this evening. We're going to chop it up about an array of things this evening. First, getting into who is Miss Kathy Martin?
I am everything, honey.
Okay, talk to the people
Everything.
there. Talk your stuff.
Hey, people. I'm. Oh my gosh.
She is trying to multitask and is not doing that good at it right now, but she's going to get back with y'all, look, and tell y'all who she is. But why she said that you
Sending messages. Give me a second. Bear with me. Go ahead.
Because she's a boss lady. Look, she has boss messages to handle. So, I want to talk about, okay, you ready? All right, then let's come on and talk about it then. Miss Kathy Martin.
Hey,
Who are
people.
you, lady? Y'all know
I'm
you are? Tell the
everything.
people who
Yes,
you
I'm
are.
everything. I'm a boss. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm just a workaholic, all around workaholic. That describes it and sums it up in what, 3 words.
Okay. She's forgetting about her loving nature and her willingness to help. But that's either here nor there. I'm gonna let you go ahead with the boss babe title. So with being a boss in the areas, would you like to tell the people in the areas in which you are a boss because you've been a boss for a while?
No, not really.
Okay. So in being a boss with your boss lifestyle, does that interfere with the flow of a life outside of work?
Yes, most definitely. As you can see now, I'm doing it now. I'm sending messages now. Yes, it's sometimes it's hard because you can't do things that you want to because you have to go back and manage people over here. So you're always working. Even when you're not at work, it never stops. Even on your days off, you don't get days off.
Facts, that's true. That's true, indeed. You definitely don't get no days off.
No.
It's always constant. If you're not working, you putting into the work. So either way, you working. Yeah, I see that. So how do you try to find a balance in that?
I ignore it. As I'm doing now, I ignore it. Sometimes I do have to put things to the side. You know, I can't do a lot of things that I want to do because duty calls, and I have to put that first. It's my lifestyle. That's how I'm able to pay the bills, y'all. It's hard some days. Some days it's hard. Some days I want to quit, but then I'm like, that's how I got here. Being who I am, I solve things when it get hard. I don't let it get me down. I keep pushing through. Keep going.
Okay, perseverance. I hear you.
So that's how I get through a lot of days. A lot of days just keep pushing. It's hard. And especially when you have other things going on mentally, you know, that can interfere as well. Okay. You see? So I'm just a woman of many. That's all I can say.
Okay, woman of many, well put. Okay, woman of many. So, today's kind of thing I want to go into is awaiting a harvest. waiting for your expected harvest while floating on the broken pieces. Can you relate to that in any sense or form?
Of course. Daily. I can relate to that. Trying to maintain life with so much that I've endured, so much that I've been through. And the most of it all is losing a son. When you lose a child, that takes a lot out of you. A lot of days I don't feel like going on, but some days I know that he don't want me to give up. So I push through that because of him, but it's a lot of days that I'm like, for what? Especially when you know that you did all you could do, and then it seemed like you failed at the end when you lost it. And that's what I feel like a lot of days.
Okay, so when we're talking about your son, you want to go ahead and share with the people who your son is?
My son's name is Daquan. Many people know him as Norfolk Bruno. His life was taken July 2nd, will make 6 years ago.
Okay. So the anniversary of his death is approaching.
Yes, it is.
And since we're talking about that, he was taken away from here for gun violence, correct?
Gun violence, yes.
Okay. And that's still unsolved, isn't it?
Yes. Still unsolved. And I think that's what I think that's what makes it hard to move on. Because I haven't had closure. Because his death has been, it hit a lot of people, and it's also been unresolved.
The broken pieces.
So that's how
the unresolved is the broken pieces. The unresolved is the broken pieces. So how have you been able to find ways to deal and cope during these 6 years?
I think about the 22 years that I did have with him. So that right there keeps me going. And then also he has 2 children, so I see him through them.
Okay. And
I just got a picture of my grandson today, and all I saw was him, just seeing him. So that's what keeps me going. A lot of times it breaks me down. I get by myself, I cry, scream, I lash out, but I do that with me because you never heal from anything like that. Some days are easier to go on, some days are easier to live, but you never get over anything like this. Never. It lives with you every day. So when people say, it gets better, time heals all things, that's a lie. No, it doesn't. It's been 6 years, and I still haven't healed.
That's deep. That's deep. So it's like a bittersweet time, and it's the celebrating of his 22 years, but it's also the acceptance of his death, that he's no longer here. So
to be honest, I haven't accepted it either.
Oh, you haven't?
No. And maybe that's what making it harder as well, because I haven't accepted. I haven't forgiven, and I don't want to. I don't want to accept that my child was taken from me because of gun violence. Senseless gun violence. I'm not going to accept that. And I can't forgive. I can't. I prayed about it, and I still do. Pray about it. But I can't find it in me. I can't accept it.
That's tough right there. That's a lot to that's a lot to take on. That's a lot to digest. That's a lot to live through. That is a lot. That's a lot to process.
He wasn't the type of child that got into trouble. I never had to worry about the police knocking on my door, me going to court for him, me going out there, getting him from just doing stupid things. He did normal kid things whereas he was a teenager, but I never have to worry about my son getting into trouble, bothering his people, fighting, being in gangs. Yeah, I didn't have to worry about that because I would pull up. Never. And then for him to be killed that way.
Yeah. It don't sit right with you.
Just point blank range for him to be taken like that. I can't. I cannot accept that.
I mean, I kind of get that. I get it. I kind of can see that, and I can't say you no different for real. But I do understand with understanding anything about healing, acceptance is the beginning of the process. So I do have to, just because I rock with you and I love you, I do have to say that acceptance is definitely something you have to come to grips with at some point to start the healing process. Otherwise, you're never going to heal. And I know it's easier said than done, so I'm not going to try to push it on you, but I have to say it. I just got to say it, though. But I ain't going to push it on you. I get it. I know everything happened with time. And I ain't saying everything healed with time, but everything happens with time. And some things just don't happen, and I get that too. I do get that too. I accept that too, and that's so. With gun violence, since this has happened and hit your home directly, how do you feel about the current gun violence that's going on?
It's ridiculous. It's I'm sorry. Excuse me. The gun violence that I see now is by children, and I can't relate to that because me coming up, I'm still young. You know, I'm 15 years old. So with me coming up like that, we didn't have things like that. We didn't have so much gun violence as we have here today. So when I see it and I hear about it, the first thing I do is just pray. That's all I can do is pray because I'm not used to things like that. I'm not used to being around so many killings and these young people.
Yeah.
I'm not used to that. It's scary because this is the world that we are living in today.
Yeah.
Where is it coming from?
Well, I mean, we can go down that rabbit hole a little bit. I believe it's a multi-layered, multi-contributing factors, multiple contributing factors to why it's like that. It's the lack of the village mentality. It's the lack of grown people being accountable enough to understand their title, because titles don't really mean nothing, but titles mean something at the same time. The titles that supposed to mean something, I think people lost kind of grips to that, and the titles that don't really mean nothing, people hold so tight and deal. So I feel like that's a part of it. I feel like it's not as much things for the kids to do because the world been, let's be real, the world has been a little unsafe before the killings for the children to come around, because before the killings it was the people stealing the kids. And before it was the people stealing the kids for harvesting and all that other stuff, then it was just people just pedophiling and stealing the kids. Then before it was that, then it was like the little clown thing. We went through a series where of ups and downs that people kind of forget about, where being a child kind of been unsafe. So when people say, where did this come from? I don't think it just happened. I think it was a series of events that led to this major like bursting and explosion. And then you got to think, okay, I talked to somebody about this the other night. It's a lot of mental illness in the world that people, and especially in these cities, that go unaddressed. Mm-hmm. We got to understand, we had the crack epidemic, right? Mm-hmm. People don't talk about that. So it was children that were products of the crack epidemic, right? Mm-hmm. Then you got the heroin and all that epidemic. These people had kids. Mm-hmm. So you got to think they have a chemical imbalance. So when you're born into the world with a chemical imbalance, that means, yeah, you might be functional. But people say a lot of people crazy. We say that a lot. People say that all the time about people. But we laugh about it and we joke about it, but it be real. People really is off for real in real life, real times. So then you got to understand that these people have children, right? And then you think about communication factor, because everything has become so virtual. People don't have real conversations no more. Mm-hmm. Even when we go out to dinner, places like that, functions, whatever, people don't necessarily have real conversations. People like tip tap with conversation, but people in their phones, people doing whatever. Like, communication is everything. Like, even if you had a messed up family, families had certain gatherings, whether it was, some people may have been like a drinking family, gambling, whatever gathering, and the cousins came over. Some people may have been a game night. Some people may have been going out to a place. Some people may have been whatever. But nowadays, people have become so selfish, because there's been a selfish spirit over the world, that they forget about what it's all for, who it's all about, and that the children, it's their turn to live. Like, no, we don't gotta stop living, but we gotta sustain a certain type of life for them. And then let's go to, again, technology. Everything is virtual. When a person got bullied before, you got bullied, we got your ass whipped, you beat somebody's ass, whatever, and it went on. And it was over. It might have got talked about for a week. If it was real good, it might be for the rest of the school year. But now, every instance get talked about multiple times, because why? They drop it in the cloud. And everybody can see it. So you got to take in a lot of things that these children are not the same children. If they just have somebody to talk to them, because people so scared of them, they don't take the time to talk to them.
And I understand
and if you
that
talk
too.
to them, they willing to listen.
And I understand that too. Understand that perfectly clear. But also too, the parents have to be involved too. How many of these children out here, parents is nowhere to be found. Parents leaving them to fend for themselves. They can't go to their parents to talk. And then on top of that, how many parents check on their children, sit down, have talks with their children? I remember my children coming up once a week. We would go out for either lunch or we would go out for dinner, and we would talk about everything that's going on in their lives. Talk about how's you doing in school, what are your grades like, what is your home life like, are you going through anything? My kids always knew that they could come and talk to me. That's a lot of things. There's things I can say right now parents don't do anymore. Yes, technology has took over the world, because just because technology took over the world don't mean that our children have to be involved in that as well. Okay, I see a lot of children walking around now 5, 6, 7 years old with an iPhone. I didn't get an iPhone until my son bought me one. I still don't know how to work it. I got to call them to do this for me. But I'm just saying, a lot of parents stop being parents because they want to be friends to their children. You can be friends. Yes, you can, but your friend, you have to know that boundary. You know what I'm saying? You can't take it too far. You have to let them know that you're still in control. A lot of parents don't do that. They let their children, I see children outside now, 9, 10 o'clock. They 7 to 8 years old. What they doing? Where's the parents at? One time, I was working at the Burger King, where I met you at so long ago.
Big ups, Burger King.
3 children came in there. The oldest was 11 years old. It was 9:20 at night. They're in there. I seen them coming across the street. I'm like, what is these children doing? I'm lying. It was 9. It was 5, 7, and 9. I'm like, where y'all come? We coming to get something to eat. Where's your mom at? Mom in the house. Do she know y'all over here? No, she didn't come out of the room. I actually got in my car and I took them children home. In walking distance, it was about 25 minutes. Because I seen them run back in the car, but that goes to say I dropped them off at home. Total stranger, didn't know them. Not one time did the mom come to the door. Not once. The door was unlocked, so they just walked right in. So that goes to say these parents, they don't check on these children. They don't go in their rooms. They don't lift up mattresses, fill up over, take out drawers, go in closets. They don't do that. So a lot of these kids are able to hide a lot of things and get away with it because their parents left them out there. And I see it daily. And that angers me too, because that plays back to with my son. 22-year-old being shot by younger kids. What was their parents at? Where did they even get the gun from?
Exactly.
Where? Because most of these children that has guns, they're not even old enough to purchase one. So where are they getting? They're getting it from the streets. Basically, the children are getting it from adults.
Yeah, pretty much. That's real. Let's talk about it. That's true.
You know, so it's like, how can we end it when we don't even know? Some of us don't even know how to start at it. Because some of these parents, they're not in agreement with the way things are now. They don't. Because they're not focused on it. They're focused on other things. They're not focused on their children.
But you got to be, though.
Of course, you have to
You
be.
got to be.
Even when your children are grown, you still have to let them know that you're involved. You have to be there. You can't, oh, they 18, they out of the house now. They out of my life, they go do for themselves. No, they're not.
No, they
18, they're
ain't
still
ready yet.
kids.
Still kids.
So
They're still
it's like
kids.
they just never, it's like today's society is never getting a fair shot because of what it is. Then so many parents don't want the next person to say anything to their kids. You say something to them, they ready to come over there, argue, fuss, fight, when all you was doing was trying to guide them or show them the right way, or just having a conversation with them that they're not getting at home. And then that's where a lot of mental issues come in, because people hold this stuff so much in because they feel as if they can't go and talk to people.
True indeed. And then too is the way you say stuff. People gotta understand too, because I'm gonna tell you, grown people rude. They some rude motherfuckers. Grown people ruder than kids.
Yes, they
Y'all
are.
talk about these kids, but I think grown people ruder, and that's where they get it from. Because the grown people, like when my kids were growing up, and I used to hate when my kids say thank you, please, you're welcome, and people don't say the proper responses back. Like, how's my child gonna learn? That's how they're supposed to learn. I see now people won't speak to these kids when they walk past these kids. A grown person don't feel like they need to speak, but why not? See, this is how you teach. In order to give respect, you have to give respect. See, but
And you
people
do.
feel like they'll do something, and that's where we mess up as a group of people, as humans. We got to understand people are human beings, right? Rest in peace, TT. Listen, people are human beings, and people need to be treated as such. I feel like we forget that people are human beings because of how we perceive them, or what they may be doing, or how they may be embedded in something. But at the end of the day, if a person is doing something totally love or whatever, it got to be a reason for that. And I just be a person, like, I know people be like, well, that ain't no reason. But if they're young and they don't know no better, what do you mean? They don't have a trained mind to know better. They only know what they're subjected to. Now, sometimes, yeah, they do know better. Sometimes they just choosing to do whatever. But a lot of times they don't know better. A lot of times they need to be shown better. They need to be told better. They need that example of what better may be. Some people don't. People take for granted what people are afforded to. Everybody's not afforded the same type of opportunities, and that's just fact, and that's just law. If everything around a person, and then sometimes they get glimpses of it, but if you get a glimpse of something that don't pull you out for a moment, and you stuck back in your reality for the rest of the time, that kind of takes away the glimpse. Because, yeah, the glimpse look good and it sound good, but it ain't enough to hold me. It ain't enough to withstand me. See, kids don't know how to necessarily stay afloat when they broken pieces, because they want to jump up off the ship. Because it seemed too little and the water's so big. See, so I get it. I understand exactly where you're coming from. But I feel like even if it can't be their parents, right? Because, again, when I was going with that whole mental thing and how people not really taking that into accountability. When people, and you got to think, we had a Ritalin epidemic too. People don't talk about that. We had a Ritalin epidemic when people were taking Ritalin at alarming rates, and they showed over time periods, as they do with most medicines that they put out in mass production, that it had a devastating effect on people. But you got to think, these people grew up and had kids too. See what I'm saying? See, people not thinking this thing. We got to be mindful. Like right now, what they're doing with these vaccines and stuff, we're gonna hear about it 10 years from now. It's gonna be a different kind of thing. Things are gonna subdue, and then they're gonna come back out, because it's nothing new under the sun. It's cycles of things. But going back to prevention, we do have a gun buyback program held at First Corinthians Baptist Church, 2308 Randolph Street, on June the 25th. If you know anybody, if you want to be anonymous, well, you know, to a certain degree, bring back the guns. And they have a buyback program right there in the city of Portsmouth, off of Randolph and Deep Creek Boulevard, 2308 Randolph Street, on June the 25th. First Corinthians Baptist Church. Check out my page. I'll be posting that. I think that's really dope. They got a lot of programs. There's a lot of people out here that are coming home from being incarcerated, that want to give back, that are putting out programs. But see, this is what I'm saying,
amazing.
people. We got to
That's
get
amazing.
the village mentality back, though. Because, yeah, these programs are great, and this gun buyback program is great, and everything that everybody doing is great. But we have to do much more. We got to keep doing more. Every opportunity is an opportunity to save a life, to change a life. You plant the seed and it'll grow. You got to plant the seed, though. We cannot no longer make excuses. We can't be afraid of these kids. They respect real. They respect honesty. They respect boldness. Because these are the things they embody, maybe in the wrong direction, but they embody these things. They respect those things. So be you boldly and respectfully. You ain't got to talk down to them. Meet them where they at. That's all you got to do. For real, these kids want to be met where they at, because for real, they seeking. They seeking it. They just don't know where to get it from.
Exactly.
But going back to you, I'm sorry, going back.
No, honey, you speak it, honey. You speak it.
Go ahead.
Loving it.
I'm loving it too. I'm loving it too. You open it up. You made me think about a lot of stuff. And stuff I've been thinking about, I think they kind of go hand in hand when you ask me the question, like, why? Like, I think all of that is why. And then some of it is just plain stupidity, let's be honest. But that's not the bulk of it, though. That's not. It's a lot of misdirection.
It is, of course. Guidance. All that comes into play. And it's just not, I mean, who says that the parents or the family only have to direct that child? Why can't it be the community? Why can't it be the lady across the street, the man in the store. Most of the people don't want, as I state, don't want nobody else telling their children what to do, how to do it, when it's all helpful.
But see, I think too, we found convenient ways not to do it. And I done said this before. Even though I know what you're talking about, and I know that mass that is that, I'm gonna at least try. If I gotta get cussed out one time, okay, I won't say that maybe to that child again. Maybe not. I might if I'm led. But at the same sense, I'm gonna take that, because if that is me getting cursed out, what are words? You got the words, but I still planted the seed in that child. And sometimes I think we just got to step up again in our boldness and be what we're supposed to be. Because remember, it used to be old ladies on the block that people couldn't stand. And even back then, they didn't want you saying that to their child for real. You know what I'm saying? It was before people didn't, made their people not say it, but people didn't either then. But see, it's a way. That's why I'm saying, people, it ain't what you do, it's how you do it. Every time, every single time. Just do it. Just do it. Just say it. Just whatever you supposed to, but do it in a respectful manner. Because sometimes people can be disrespectful. You can't talk to people kids like you talk to your kids. Because some people talk to their kids real crazy, and some people ain't with that.
Oh yes, they do. The things I hear.
It's not the same time, because reputation is no standard no more. It used to be a semi-standard. Even though people varied from the standard, it was still kind of like a standard. We don't have a standard no more. As when it comes to parenting or nothing. For real, especially in the Black and brown community, there is really no standard. So, we're understanding that, but we're getting it back though. See, let's talk about the progression. We're getting it back. We just gotta refocus it in the right direction. What I think we're seeing right now is, you gotta think, this was not by chance. All those guns came about right when the pandemic was. How did the people get the guns? Even the streets, even the grown people to give the guns. Let's think about this. It's all population control. These cellular phones, we were talking about cellular phones earlier, they've never in the history of Obama phones gave out all these free phones. They've been on the corners over repeatedly, the same corners over and over again for months on end. Now they're giving out tablets and Wi-Fi. Be very awake. Be very careful. Stay attentive, people. Listen, don't none of this stuff happen by chance. I know y'all think I'm so crazy, but I watch these movies because the human mind cannot fathom a new idea. It only builds upon existing ideas.
Come on now.
People be talking this stuff in these movies. Y'all know that movie Sale? Because you got to know they go back. They put it out way early and let it play out later. The movie Sale, if I'm saying it right, 'cause I mixed it up. I think it's the white guy. I forgot his name. He's a great actor. And Samuel L. Jackson in it. And it has something about these cell phones, but he left his cell phone. So that's the only reason why he won't, corrupt it. And the phones, they send out a signal. It might have been called Signal and not Cell. And it sent out a signal, and all the people devices, they were going crazy. They was either eating people, killing people, beating people. It was just, it made them mad or whatever. I'm just telling y'all, be very mindful of the way they keep giving y'all this stuff. Everything, like I tell my kids, ain't nothing in the world free. If it's free, it costs you something. Believe that. It's going to cost you something.
Of course it is.
Something.
Of course.
So I said all that to be careful about that too, because again, algorithms. Everybody been talking about algorithms so much, about different things, like the way TikTok and all the other little various social medias work through algorithms. Even Reels up here on Facebook through algorithms. But don't y'all, if they can do all that just to change our attention span and to get us to really be subjected or to even engage in something over and over again that ain't even that significant. Don't you think that they dealing with us on different higher levels? It's in music. Algorithms is in a lot of stuff.
Yes,
TV, the way they play commercials, the way they play things. So these kids ain't just dealing with themselves. They dealing with a lot of outside factors. A weak man with all these outside factors. We couldn't even fathom that. Because for one, all this stuff they got, we ain't had none of this.
No.
We had outside. We had pagers.
You remember them pages? It was great.
It was great.
That was a fun time.
The expectations of people was different.
Yeah, of course.
People expect you to be.
I don't think now expectations, I don't even think that exists anymore.
It does. It's just unrealistic.
It's just, no, that's why I say it doesn't exist, because it's unrealistic. It doesn't. But, okay.
We know, when we talk about things, we always got to keep the general area of gray, because it's always some people that are participating in something. It's never the all or the none. Yeah. So, But I get what you're saying, though. It's not in a high volume. But that go back to reputation, though. We're not really, how did I say it? Reputations don't precede people no more. Nobody care about that. Back in the day, you cared about that. Like, my family name, I ain't gonna do such and such and such because it is gonna embarrass whoever. Nobody cares about embarrassing nobody no more. I don't even hear the people use the word embarrass no more. Really.
I haven't heard it in a long time.
For real. People used to be embarrassed about things. People,
They just live life because it's like you say, it's no expectations. It's nothing anymore. I think people is just living to live now. A lot of people are just living to live. Nobody's expecting the greatness of this, expecting the greatness of that. Just people just living now. And that's the way I look at it.
That's a very unfulfilling life.
Very.
That's a very unfulfilling life. You might have things, but that's not fulfilling though. That's when you say that, it makes me think like that's really sad. If people just really living like that, because it's the little things, man. India already said it best. It's the little things.
Just yesterday, I was at work, and I heard a girl say she's 18 years old, and they was just talking about birthdays. She was like, "Oh, I don't care about my birthday." Because her birthday is coming up. I want to say it's next week. Okay. It's coming up. She said, I don't care about my birthday. It's just another date for me closer to dying. I say, what? You know, and that bothered me. She's 18 years old. Girl, you're supposed to be living life, having a great time. And she just shut up. She just was quiet from that point. Just said, it's another day for me closer to death. I'm like, girl, you're 18. You're supposed to live your life.
But that's what they pushing this music, though.
And you're so right.
See, we protesting the
stuff
wrong stuff.
That I hear in this music.
They always talk about killing somebody or killing themselves.
What?
That's all they talk about.
So
doing all kinds of drugs.
So depressing.
That's
yes.
It. We used to talk about, they talked about our rap, right? But our rap was about getting money. We might have been some drug dealers, but we were getting money. Yeah. We weren't killing people. It might be if we got to retaliate, maybe. But that's all they play. That's all is shooting them up. Everybody are up. Everybody get shot up. Everybody capping. And if we can't do it, if all else fail, I'm going to kill myself. And that's what they do. And that's sad. And it is.
And the generation now picks up on all of that. It's like that's what they're teaching us, teaching our children. Yeah. Because they want the latest music that's out. And if you listen to it, I heard a song, was it Suicidal? I'm like, what? Why would they even put this on the radio? You know how many kids? Going to hear this? They're going to start having suicidal thoughts.
But suicide is already arisen.
I mean, it is, but I'm just saying, they're promoting it more.
Population control, again. All this boy back to the militant. All these current things, I'm telling y'all, population control is the most humane way possible to have population control. If they have us either do it amongst ourselves or they do it in a humane way. Mm-hmm. They're doing it with our food. They're doing it with our product. They're doing it with everything. Mm-hmm. It's crazy. I know it sounds whatever. We have to be accountable for ourselves as individuals. Yes, indeed. But in playing this game, the game rigged. The game rigged, man. You just gotta try to play chess with it at the same time while you playing by whatever rules is applicable on that level. You gotta still play chess, like, cause you gotta think and see stuff, and you can't be blind like y'all. Pick a side, man. I'm telling you, cause the game got different colors, different sides, different. The game is for real. This game terrible. This game ain't. But in spite of, life is always what you make it.
Of course.
So in spite of chaos, something good still gotta shake. Cause you can make it shake. Cause the good in you can make everything chaotic around you shift.
Of course.
And that's what it really boils down to in these times, in these serious times.
Yes.
Yeah, man. Yes. It really boils down to it for real. You gotta conjure up that good and that positive and that progression of you and flow that. And shift every room, every atmosphere you go into. You got to shift that thing and become infectious in a good way. See, because infectious looked at as a terrible word. But infectious can be a positive thing if it's used in the right direction.
Of course.
For real. Let your joy be infectious. Let your love be infectious. Let your good energy be infectious. Let your healing be infectious. Let your growing be infectious. While you on these little broken pieces out here floating, waiting for that harvest. You know what I'm talking about?
Of course.
What else you got to say, baby? Talk to me. Talk to me.
Come on, let's pull up. We got a whole list of stuff.
Oh, yeah, I do. I got a whole list of stuff.
Let's just go.
Okay, so going back to the healing process, we were talking about healing pieces. I know you said something about not healing, so let's talk about it. With the healing process, do you think you have healed any?
Mm-mm.
Not even a little bit?
Mm-mm. Some days are just easier to go on to live life than other days, but I haven't healed at all. And I'm going to be honest, I haven't tried to. A big piece of me was taken from me from gun violence. I don't want to heal from that. I don't.
I respect that. I respect that. But I want you to heal, though.
And I understand. I know it's healthy.
do.
That's the best thing to do. But how
healing
can?
don't mean forgetting.
And I know, no, it doesn't. But it also plays in forgiveness plays in the healing. And I will not forgive them. I will not.
What could you do to other things
I can't
besides
do
forgiving them?
No, I can't.
But I'm saying everything else besides forgiving, because that's only one part, like you say, a part.
Yes.
So could we do the other stuff besides forgiving?
I haven't thought of it.
Because you don't gotta forgive yet.
I know.
That could be the very last thing.
I'm never going to
Maybe
forgive.
don't even have to.
Because that didn't have to happen.
True.
I don't know. That, you know what? And the reason why I'm saying I don't know is because I haven't even thought on it. I don't want to think on it. So I can't say, oh yeah, well, give me time for this or give me time for that, when I haven't even accepted it.
Yeah, true.
So I can't forgive, move on, start the healing process. I can't because I haven't accepted it.
Well, we're going to have to accept this thing. We're going to
can't.
talk about this.
I
We're going to
can't.
accept
I
this.
can't.
You ain't got to forgive them. I ain't
can't.
talking about forgiving, but you
It's-
got to accept it. Because you want to live the highest quality of life that you got to live for your other two children.
And I understand it, and I do. And they understand. They give me space. They give me time. But you know what was the most painfulest thing to hear? My grandson, his mom took him to his dad's gravesite. You know what my grandson said? Mom, why he won't talk back to me? He don't know that. He's only 5. He don't know. And he said this, it was 2 years ago. He was 3. 3-year-old person, baby, saying, why my dad won't talk back to me? I'm talking to him. They just sent me in a whole different direction because this didn't have to happen. Another senseless crime that didn't have to happen. I can't accept that. Because my granddaughter, his daughter, asked Grandma, is he going to come back? Can I go up there with him? They don't understand. They just know they don't have a father. And his son didn't even get to meet him. His daughter had just turned 2 a week prior to this happening to him, but he never met his son. I can't. Not at this moment. I don't foresee it in the next couple of years. Maybe with some therapy or somebody talking to me, keep pushing me and guiding me, but I don't see it in the next years to come. I don't. For one, it's still unresolved.
I respect that.
6 years. July 2nd. I can't. Not at this moment.
Okay. Well, I'm going to leave you alone with that. So, from the information I got, the unresolved is the biggest issue. Is that what you think is stopping you from the healing process? Maybe if it was a resolve, do you think maybe you could
Maybe I can move to accepting.
Okay. I can get that.
But when you have no answers, nowhere, nothing in 6 years, you can't say what you would do or how to move on from that or where to start because you still got unanswered questions. So I can't give you an answer if I don't have an answer.
Okay, well, since we up here, let's take this time out now, then, and tell the people a little bit about it, so they can know if anybody maybe has anything or any information or whatever.
Okay, as I stated, Norfolk Bruno was killed July 2nd, 2016 on the corner of Church Street and Princess Anne Road. It's almost 6 years later. The murder has still been unresolved. If you or anyone you may know have any information that can help me, please feel free to reach out.
Oh, you could call 757-964-9367. 757-964-9367. Is it another number they can call?
757-735-5339.
757.
735-5339.
Did I do that right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. I know, right?
Okay.
You play.
Is it okay?
Yeah. So, if you guys are out there, y'all know anything that could help, that would be very awesome to call one of those lines and bring forth the information. Any information would help. Gun violence is such a very devastating thing, and that's why I shout y'all about this, the retaliatory situation of things, right? Because what's going on in the city is retaliatory. What's been going on lately is retaliatory. Not speaking necessarily on your son's issue, but the retaliatory things, it's an ongoing cycle, and you leave people feeling all kinds of ways, man. Gotta be careful. And the people who are out there doing it, be careful how you take lives. And the people who out there trying to keep y'all life afloat, make sure y'all just stay prayed up, man, and be very diligent. When you out and you about, we really can't live in fear or hide. We just gotta be wiser about our choices and how we move and where we move to, and going with our instincts and our guts, and just being very mindful. Like, that's all we can do in this time of day and age. Because it's really not nothing we really can do. Because you could be anywhere just going about your business as he was. And you get, so.
You're right.
I know, baby. I'm sorry about that.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
So this is a lot on you to try to balance when we go back to balancing boss life, because you're also balancing this heavy portion of your outside of work life.
How I deal with that way outside of work, I make things. When I say make things, I'm a crafter. I can build anything, make anything decor.
Yes, she can.
So that's my to-go-to thing when things get rough. When I start feeling down, start feeling emotional, I just get things and just start building, start making. And I create something beautiful from my pain.
Pieces of pain with a purpose. Listen. Pain with a purpose, baby. Listen. And she creates beautiful things. I have 2 bathroom sets. They're really, really nice. Everybody been in my bathroom. Shout out to the bathroom sets. She does beautiful things. She has her own house and decor. She ain't want to talk about it too much, y'all. So that's why I've been trying not to talk about it too much. I'm going to talk about it, because I was going to say y'all to hit her up, because she does have bomb stuff. I'll show some pictures and share some pictures in the description or whatever when I get off of here. But that's dope how you do that. So what made you start doing that? How long have you been doing that?
For 3 years now. Something to do. Actually, I saw this table. I'm like, I want that table. And I'm like, wait a minute, I can make that. So I made one, and I loved the way it turned out. And then as I was making it, my mind was blank. So that took me away from reality. And then I just started doing more. When I get down, start feeling lonely, start feeling, missing. And when I say missing my son, I just, okay, this going to take my mind off of this for a while. And then I just started creating pieces, creating. Because it's like I'm not forced to deal with anything at that moment. So that's what helps me a lot.
You create dope pieces too.
Thank you.
That's a great coping. That's a very healthy coping mechanism. And you can see the beauty that you create. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Oh, look at you. So in the midst of everything that you carry, in the midst of all that you do, how do you wait while expecting your harvest, or do you even expect the harvest anymore?
I don't think about it. I don't think about it, because I'd be like, my mind be too busy to just think about me. I just focus on everything else and everybody else besides me. So I can't even say how, because I don't focus on it. I'm going to snap out of that, though.
Yes.
Quickly. Next week. Give me the next week.
Next week.
Next week. I'm out of it.
Okay. We got to get you out of that one. Look.
Yes, next week. I'm done.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, look, my mom so sorry. I'm still waiting on my pieces, Kathy. Look.
I got you, Mom. I got you. It's coming. Bear with me.
Yeah, so, but that's dope, though. Pain of purpose. That's dope. So you definitely got to redirect, putting yourself as a priority. And I know for us as Black women, brown women, that's a real tough thing, because we're always taught to put everything above us: the kids, the man, the family. Everything comes and then where it lasts. But I'm coming to realize that that's why there's a lot of bitter brown women in the world, because that lifestyle is not rewarding. It is, but it's not. It's rewarding, but it's not self-rewarding. And everybody deserves to have some type of self-pleasure, satisfaction, besides just being satisfied. For somebody else. I'm so good. Listen. Listen, that's great too, because that's needed too. That's a long day. It keeps everything great. Yes. You terrible, man. You done made me lose my train of thought.
No, because
you done made me, girl, I was looking. This is foolishness, y'all.
I haven't seen you so long. I miss you.
I miss you too, man.
I love you. I love this girl. Okay,
Yes.
go.
Okay, we okay. Yes. Rock the mic. Don't tilt it over. I can't pay for it. Look.
We need them running out the door.
But listen, for real though, seriously, we gotta work you up on accepting thing too. You ain't gotta forgive. I ain't worried about that. That could be the very last thing if you don't never do that. I'm cool, but you gotta start healing, cause that is good for you, man. It's like you got an infection just riding you up on the inside for real. If you don't like,
and I know these things, but you know, and I tell people all the time the same thing that you're telling me, the same things that I hear, and I'm like, okay, talk to Hell Freeze over, but I give the same advice to people daily, every day. I'm doing this, but I can't. I'm gonna work on it.
It ain't that you can't. You just don't want to. Just say that. Please say it. Because you can't. You just don't want to.
I don't want to. It's hard.
Because you can't want to if you can't.
I'm telling you, it's hard. I don't want to. Not at this moment.
And I respect that. But just say that. Say the real thing. I don't want to. I just don't want to.
I shouldn't have to.
Yeah. I get you.
That's what it is. I shouldn't have to. Shouldn't be faced with no parent should have to be faced with this. 22, life is just starting. You're just finding out who you are. Sometimes you still don't find out who you are, especially for the male part.
And even for the females.
22,
you don't know who you are yet.
Exactly.
Not yet.
Exactly.
So yeah. But I get it. It's gonna take time. Look at you. It is gonna take time. And but we gotta work on it though, cause I want you to have a great quality of life, man.
Yes, we do, Ma.
Yes.
It's been a long time.
Yes.
Yes, we do. We really do.
But celebrating the life lived. So, as we begin to wrap this up, what are the things that you that stand out to you the most about Quan's life?
Oh, his 2 children. He left behind. He was a great athletic. Oh, yeah, boy could play some football. That's how he got the name Norfolk Bruno, from playing football.
Okay.
Since he was 5 years old. And it's just a lot of great times, me going to his games, me not know anything about sports, but I was at every game. I got a trophy one time for being the most supportive parent, because I was at every game. I got put out of a game one time. I got kicked off the football field one time. I mean, it's just a lot of great memories I have with him. And they was so many.
Well, that's good though. At least he had a good quality of life while he lived.
Oh yes, he did. Everybody know Quan. Whew. Quan, he was an amazing guy.
Powered by Virginia Radio.